Good evening. My name is Andy, and I'm a non-resident alien. I'd like to start with a quotation. Small businesses are the heart of the American economy. They're responsible for half of all private sector jobs, and they create roughly 70% of all new jobs in the past decade. So small businesses are not only job generators, they're also at the heart of the American dream. That's a quotation from a chap called Barack Obama, the US president, earlier this year. But how does the US government treat small businesses when it comes to immigrants and non-immigrants setting up and operating US businesses? I can only speak to my own situation on this, but I've heard countless episodes of people in the same predicament. Our journey started 8 years ago in Edinburgh, Scotland. My company, 2020 Productions, which I've been running since 1990, provides event and video production and graphic design services for a wide range of clients, both corporate and non-profit, ranging from startups to the United Nations, literally. In 2002, we decided to expand to offer a global presence by establishing a US office to offer services to US and international companies. My company only has 2 full-time employees. However, we use a lot of contract labor for event and video projects, all legitimate and above board. Our total payroll over the last 7 years has amounted to over $1 million, and all profits have been reinvested in the US. Nothing has been sent back to the UK. Here's my experience with the INS, BCIS and USCIS, as they've been severally called during my short time in this country. 2002 successfully issued an L1A visa as a multinational executive or manager. Moved to San Francisco and opened the office. 2003 renewed successfully in the US. We were given approximately 8 months to prove the business viability, which is not practical at all. But thanks to my attorney Erica Tomlinson for her experience, patience and persistence. 2005, L1A visa renewed successfully, again, multinational executive or manager. But we had to return to the UK for visa processing because the laws had changed. 2007, applied for green card, EB1C, multinational executive or manager. Denied. They basically didn't believe that I am or ever have been executive or manager either in the UK or the US over the last 18 years. Also, they refused to recognise our employee as a professional, even though her 4-year degree was exactly related to her job description. We appealed to the Administrative Appeals Office and have been in total limbo for 15 months waiting to hear, until last Friday when we found out that the appeal was dismissed on similar grounds to the original denial. But at least we know now. For something as important as the green card process, there should be some chance to physically appear before authorities to explain your case. This would make things so much easier to adjudicate, particularly in business matters, which may not be as straightforward as most cases. During the green card fiasco, we were unable to leave the USA for a family bereavement. We were landlocked as the L1 visa had expired. We couldn't get a renewal appointment for 5 months, which must be done outside the US. Why, if you've already had several successful renewals? We ended up driving down to Tijuana with our family in order to be able to return to the UK, by which time the visa was only valid for 5 months before having to resort to changing the visa to the E2 Treaty Investor visa, as the L1A was maxed out at 7 years. Again, we had to travel back to the UK in order to have the interview at a cost of approximately $6,000 for flights for the family, rather than being able to process in the US. The staff in the London embassy, both Brits and Americans, were exceedingly rude to both me and my wife during the interview process. There seemed to be a guilty unless grudgingly proven innocent power complex towards applicants. We're a small company, but have been in the US for nearly 7 years and had just had our best year ever, which made it all the more annoying and confusing given that some of the world's largest companies were on their knees at the time. The officer seemed unaware of US tax accounting and general business practices and insulted both my own and my attorney's intelligence on the E2 visa requirements from the start. However, my wife Fiona said that he developed a nervous twitch during the interview, as I think he expected me to roll over and give up after his first tirade. After a 40-minute battle with the officer through the lovely inviting glass screen, the E2 visa was approved, but he ended with a finger wagging, saying that we'd have to come up with something a lot better in 2 years' time if we wanted to renew successfully. As currently there is no route to a green card for E2 holders, a ridiculous situation for a treaty investor to be in, we will have to constantly renew and travel at the will of the authorities. So how does the immigration system affect businesses and the families involved? It disrupts our ability to function and plan effectively as a business, with long and unpredictable wait times. It makes you unproductive and therefore uncompetitive due to the huge amount of repetitive information required. It creates unnecessary costs, travel, legal and processing fees, which are a burden to both the business and the families involved. It should be dealt with face-to-face by interviews at local offices, or at least within the United States. It causes huge stress to the family, difficulties with planning, travelling and scheduling, always a temporary feeling very alien. There is inconsistent judgment and requirements throughout the system. Our L1 was granted and renewed 3 times, then the green card denied on the same basis after 7 years. Finally, how far does this attitude go through the immigration organisation, and are there any rays of hope? Following my torrid experience at the embassy in London, I returned to the US, arriving at SFO. The immigration officer checked through my file online and asked, "You've been here in L1 status for 7 years. Why didn't you get a green card?" I told him I applied last year, but it was denied. "But yet they gave you an E2 investor visa," he said. "Yes," I said. "I'm bewildered." "Me too, sir," he said. "Welcome back."